Right. All right, Nafta, let's check it out. Bluebelt, 2018. Oh, got him in the cage. Nice. Working that guillotine the other guy is. Oh, time. There you go. Or is you? I can't tell which one. Tell me afterwards. Tell me afterwards. I'm the chubby one on black. Okay, so you were working that guillotine. We'll talk about it afterwards. Alright, stuck on bottom. Alright. Good. It's got you against the cage, though. It's hard to get head movement there. And you could use it to walk around, maybe come around for an armbar. It's a little tough, though. It's definitely a whole new jiu-jitsu match when a cage is involved. And it's funny because Henzo always shows moves if he gets stuck against the wall. And I'm always like, why are we getting stuck against the wall? We're in a jiu-jitsu tournament. But he always shows them. It's like, I guess, like street fight jiu-jitsu, which is kind of what I teach. Nice framing. I mean, he's just closing the distance, and he's just kind of making it hard for you to move, but he's also not making it... He's not really able to pass here. I'm assuming he's up on points. Because he seems content to just hang out here. Because he's never going to pass with this grip here. It's not even a real neck crank. Oh, there we go. Up and over. Force him to push it down. Good hip. Your hips are actually a lot more flexible than your size would denote. There you go. Push yourself off the cage. All right. Again, the guy's putting a lot of pressure on you. Again, he's not giving you any space to work. So the first thing you got to work is creating a little bit of space. Just a hair of space. Well, fighting is its own thing. I agree. It's a whole different art. Oh, again, dude, your hips are super flexible. Oh, dude. Really? Could have went for a go-go plata. You're so flexible. Oh, nice. Looking for the bicep slicer. Oh, I like it. Oh, very nice. I don't know. Yeah, his tendon popped. It happened to Matt Serra, bro. Yep, there's a tendon. Oof. Brutal. But super flexible, man. Really nice work on that, too. He's stunned. You're stunned. You look like you're like... Understandable, man, but yeah. Tendon tap. Yep. 100%. No, I want to go back to that for 1 second. Let's look at the beginning of that. Alright. So one thing right here, so against the cage, if you've ever seen like, I mean a lot of MMA finishers, they just hip in and push him against the cage. So when he's going for this single leg in response, I would have actually preferred you to sprawl out and then go back into the guillotine. Alright? Yeah. Because when you fall back like this, you see you're actually throwing yourself out of the guillotine. Let's go back a bit. See how far you are. So if you were able to sit straight down and go into it, that would have been fine. But when you actually throw yourself back this far, look at where you start and look at where you're going to finish. So if you're ever going to jump a guillotine on somebody, you actually don't want to jump away from them. You actually want to jump straight down. Alright, so here's kind of, look how far you end up away. Because what happens is you're actually letting them, if they stay in the position and you go far out of position, you kind of finish it. Yeah, Jones Machida, yeah. So if you want to finish a standing guillotine, you kind of have to push them against the cage with your hips. Alright? But even if you want to jump a guillotine, that's cool too, but you want to go more straight down and less away from the person. I'd almost say like, because who actually really showed me this pretty well? One of the smaller guys at Henzo's. Might have been Jason Yang. But he would grab it and he would literally jump up into the person more than throw himself back. I mean, I know you're a bigger guy, but you got the hip flexibility, so not worried about that there. And that's why he's able to slide his head out here. Because look, when you land, look how far his body is. His head's basically at your hip, which means he's out. Really, you want to keep someone's head into your armpit area and get a twist off. If your arms are down here by your hip line, that means all this space exists right here for the head to just kind of push away. And that's what happens here. But other than that, I like what you're doing. I mean, here for a while we got, like, again, it just looks like he's up on points because he's just he's holding on to you more than anything else. So I don't want to kind of say he's not really trying to pass. He's just trying to keep the distance close. And your guard is solid. And if you notice right here, it looks like you're kind of extending your legs a little bit and squeezing. But you're against the cage, so it kind of does make sense because you want to get that pressure off you. So hips up more maybe to relieve some pressure. Renzo would talk about that, hips up. You're going to start to get out of this. Here you go. He's going to start to try and neck crank you in a moment. See here. All right, so there we go. 1, 2. He's going to sit back. See, right now he can't neck crank you. He can only drive pressure. Here we go. Yeah, here's where he starts neck cranking you. When he sits back. There we go. So right here when he's neck cranking you, he's actually giving you an armbar. Do you see it? His chin on his traps. Yeah. Alright, so what happens is you even have the setup here. So you see how your arm is across here? This arm is actually acting as the trap for this arm. I'll actually bring up annotation and draw for you. Interact. There we go. Alright, so see this arm here? One, and it's coming through. So he's trying to neck crank you here with this grip here. So he's a little bit holding himself in. At the same time, you're over and you're coming across. So he's actually helping you trap this one arm in. So a lot of times when people go for this neck crank here, the reason they're doing it is to open the guard up. You're far enough away from the cage where you actually do, I think you have a little bit of space for your head to slide in. I would actually still go for it. So the first thing I would do here, the ref is a bit in the way, but if you could step on his hip here, and you have the hip flexibility. If you step on his hip, you want your knee to kind of come this way, and your foot to be on his hip. So you actually want to be trapping the shoulder with your quad a little bit here. And then you can cut the other leg across his back, and because of the grip you have right here, it'll actually help you slide and cut that angle really, really quickly and really smoothly. Definitely something I think you should practice on, especially with your hip mobility, bro. I think it'd be real nice. But there we go. Yeah. Other than that, yeah. And it's kind of like you just stiff arm him away. So again, guard play is all about controlling and using the amount of space. You never really want to create too much, and you never really want to have too little. Back then, I was always too scared to open my guard and do it. Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah. No, it's understandable. I mean, and honestly, we should be taught that on some level, like, because that is your self-defense. You know what I mean? Your guard is your self-defense. If something happens and you're in the bottom and you're on the ground, you wrap someone up tight in your closed guard. As long as they don't have a weapon, you're good to go. All right, and you can really buy yourself some time. Nothing wrong with that mentality, especially in the beginning. So the only reason I learned what I'm telling you right now is because there was a guy at Renzo's who would constantly neck crank me, and Renzo would always yell at him for doing it, like, that shit's gonna stop working. So one day, Renzo teaches me how to defend the neck crank, like exactly what I'm telling you. Put the arm across, trap the arm. I would even put the other one across and grab the bicep on the other side. So I have 2 traps on the arm. So this one over, this one comes under, catches the arm. So now I'm really securing the arm, and then I whip my hips out for the arm bar. So then I'm rolling with that guy. He goes for it. I arm bar him out of it, and Renzo immediately says to the guy, "I told you that shit would stop working." So he kind of set him up. I'll be that guy. I'm fine. I mean, good wrestling here on his part too. You go to sit up for the Kimura or hip bump sweep. He just tripods on you, and this is what I mean by it's all about controlling space. You can't have too little. You can't give them too much. So he's just keeping it close. And here's where you hold on. You actually do start to See, I like what you're doing with your hands here. You're starting to look to manipulate his armpits and his elbows. I like this. Looking to get on the head here. Here we go. Getting a framework here. So you got the over-under on this arm. And here you go. See, exactly. Here's what I mean by your controlling space. Now he's resting on your elbow. There's a little bit of him keeping his way in here. He doesn't realize the danger he's about to be in. But, yeah, this is exactly what you want. You want that nice, you want that at least, like, tricep distance away. I like this a lot. And I like the way you kind of look like you're coming over for an arm bar here. Maybe even for, it looks like you're going for the pressing lock on this one here. 1, 2. That's nice here. You get your foot inside. He starts to come through. Very nice. Yeah, I like the way you see even here. Here's another good example of you controlling space. Look at your hand on his shoulder. right? Your elbow's on the ground, so you have a brace here, right? So your elbow here is braced to the ground, and your hand is coming straight up. This is you controlling distance, all right? So he can't close it up. And you did it so you could squeeze your foot in here, but that's kind of like what you always want to be thinking about when you're on the bottom. Always think about controlling that distance, that little bit of space, especially when somebody's driving on you. I get most gogoplatas when it's a wrestler kind of putting pressure. Again, right here, nice. I like the way you bring both hands through. His arm is trapped here. You're going to start cutting that angle. Little hip. You triangle your legs here. You can open your knees, push them out here, and that's how you get that pop.